So yesterday was my longest video yet, as I talked about the El Paso airspace situation, the Canadian shooting, and those two events' connections to both Southland Tales and Donnie Darko. And I also talked about James Van Der Beek passing away. Now I'm going to skip the El Paso and shooting stories right now and just post some of the key points from my video about Van Der Beek that I found just in shorter form. Not all of the points, but a few of the key points. So, Van Der Beek's co-star in Varsity Blues, Ron Lester, was born August 4th, 1970, and died June 17th, 2016, in Dallas, I might add. Famous for JFK getting his head wound there. And of course, Lester born on 8/4. And again, this is all information from yesterday's video, but I know it's a long video. There's just a few of the big points that I found. I recommend you watch that entire video because it is very important. Now, going from Lester's birthday to Van Der Beek's death, 20,280 days. That's your 228. Elvis died on the 228th day of the year. And Van Der Beek's other co-star in Varsity Blues, Ali Larter, who was in Final Destination, I might add, was born on 228. And the insane connections with Lester don't stop there, because it's also 55 years, 6 months, 7 days, your 55 Satan number with your Elvis number. And look at this right here. 666 months, 7 days. Your 666, your 66 twin number, and your 67 Elvis number, all together. Now, how perfect is this? As Ron Lester was born on August 4th, and he has the 228, the 55 Satan number with the 67, and the actual number of the beast with the 67. Absolutely perfect all around, going from his birth date to Van Der Beek's death date on the 42nd day of the year. Van Der Beek, of course, born on the 67th day of the year. And 6 times 7 equals 42. I also found this 2-part miniseries called The Storm, where James Van Der Beek plays Dr. Jonathan Kirk. And the cast is very interesting, I might add, with 611 connections. But the main thing I found here was if you go from Charlie Kirk's supposed death date to Van Der Beek's death date is 154 days. And in Gematria, Dr. Jonathan Kirk equals 154. No coincidences here, my friends. And to really seal the deal, it's also exactly 5 months and 1 day after the Kirk event. 5/1 is May Day, the day of pagan sacrifice. And then, of course, I discovered that Van Der Beek's co-star on Dawson's Creek, Joshua Jackson, currently 47 years old, born on 6/11/1978, which I've long since known, of course. But going from Joshua Jackson's birth date to Van Der Beek's death date is 17,412 days, and that just so happens to be Shannon Doherty's birth date, because Shannon Doherty was born on April 12th in the year 71. Now, what are the odds of that? Tell me that, please. I'm begging you, because that's impossible. And of course, there's also all of the connections I found with the Rules of Attraction, starring Van Der Beek, and of course, Jessica Biel, who was born on 3/3. A very 9/11 coded film, as a scene called The End of the World Party actually filmed on the date of 9/11/01. I'm not going to get into it here. I got into it yesterday. I will say that the film released on 10/11/2002, and 10/11 is Michelle Trachtenberg's birthday. It was her 17th birthday, in fact. And one of Van Der Beek's co-stars in that movie, The Storm, was Luke Perry, of Beverly Hills 90210 fame. Of course, he starred on that show with Shannon Doherty. I just showed you how Joshua Jackson's birth to Vanderbeek's death equals her birth date. And Luke Perry was also born on 10/11, like Michelle Trachtenberg was, and he was born in 1966, the last year of the Fire Horse. Now, this isn't going to be a long video, but I'm just going to take a look at a few other points. There's a lot more to this to look into later, but I want this to be a shorter form video. So, Varsity Blues, Vanderbeek plays a guy named Mox, which immediately reminds me of professional wrestler Jon Moxley, who wrestles for AEW. Real name, Jonathan Good. Married to Renee Paquette, aka Renee Good, sort of like that phony victim of a shooting back on 1/7. And by the way, speaking of ICE, on AEW last week, there was an FUCK ICE chant because they had one of the wrestlers in there who is outspoken against ICE in the ring, and a bunch of news publications picked up on it. So this is the point where we get to some new info. Going from Jon Moxley, the wrestler's birthday on 12/7/85 to Vanderbeek's death. 14,676 days. Read it backwards. It's your 6/7 Elvis number with your 6/14 Trump birth date. Of course, read it forwards. If you say this like you do in most of the world, it's your 14/6, 6/14 Trump birthday with your 7/6 George Bush Jr., the 9/11 president birthday. So all around, it's a loaded number. Also, 40 years, 2 months, 4 days. 40 plus 24 is 64. The Space Needle turned 64 this year. You know all about that. Vanderbeek was 48 years old when he died, and he died on the 42nd day of the year, and 482 plus 4 is 486. He was 86 at the age of 48. Now, in Varsity Blues, Ron Lester played Billy Bob. Who else was born on 8/4? Billy Bob Thornton? Coincidence, maybe? I doubt it. I mean, Billy Bob does give us our 79, the age Trump will be when 6/11 rolls around. Also, our 137, Trump got his ear clip on 7/13 because of that number. Shannon Doherty died on 7/13 because of that number. The occultic 33rd prime, a highly, highly occultic number in the cabal. More so than most. We also have our 47, Trump currently the 47th president. He is the 45-47 president. Your 55 Satan number. Your 822 Irina Zarutska death date backwards 228. Amy Smart born on 228. She was also in Varsity Blues. And on the 228th day of the year, Elvis died. Now, there was a spoof of all the teen movies coming out in the late 90s, early 2000s called Not Another Teen Movie, and Ron Lester was in this film basically reprising his role as Billy Bob, although in this film he played a guy named Reggie Ray, but he was basically the same character, as you can see here. And in Varsity Blues, he kept getting concussions and head injuries. In fact, look here, hold on. One of the jokes in the movie is on the scoreboard. They're keeping count of Reggie Ray's concussions. That's how big of a deal the head wounds are with this guy who was born on 8/4. In fact, the movie makes a joke out of blood pouring out of his ear, and yet he still goes to play. So yes, a ton of head wound symbology with this guy who was born on 8/4 and died in Dallas, famous for a president getting his deadly head wound there. In the year 2016, no less, 2016. And also with a character named Billy Bob and Billy Bob Thornton, someone else who was born on 8/4. Now, I wanted to check out the name Reggie Ray in Gematria like I did Billy Bob, and immediately I saw that Reggie equals our 111, our 42, our 666, and our 51. What is that? Of course, it's May Day, the day of pagan sacrifice. We even have our backwards 162 in Satanic and our 321, which is important because 321 is the 254th composite. 254th day of the year is 9/11. In fact, we even have our 123 murder code. So Reggie is a loaded name in Gematria. And we hadn't even gotten to the full name yet. Now here we are, Reggie Ray, our big 888 beast system number. The 148th day of the year is my birthday, 5/28. Also fictional character Donnie Darko's birthday. He relates to Trump. And you know all about the connections to Donnie Darko and Southland Tales on the 42nd day of the year, the same day James died. 95, 9 times 5 is your 45. Trump the 47 president. You're 57. Michelle died on the 57th day of the year. 57 is the 127th day of the year when Seattle Slew died. Anytime you see those 888 numbers, it's always a huge deal. And with that 95, the 95th composite is also 126. And remember, the 126th composite is 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year. So again, Ron Lester, very 8-4 coded and born on 8-4. Now, if you go from Donald Trump's birth date to Ron Lester's birthday on 8/4/70 is 88 days. What is 1 plus 7? 8. Your 888 beast system number yet again in connection to Ron Lester. Then you have 8 plus 1 plus 7, and that is 16. 8/16 Elvis death date. And then also 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 plus 7 is 8. 168. Remember how that connects to 8-4? Because the 168th composite is 216. It's also 24 years, 1 month, 21 days. That's your 121. The 121st day of the year is May Day, the day of pagan sacrifice. And since it's a mirror, you can read it either way. 121/42. So, that's your May Day, day of pagan sacrifice, with the 42nd day of the year when James Van Der Beek died. Or you can consider it Elvis, or you consider it Washington State in the future. And if we go from Trump's birth to Ron Lester's death, 25,571 days. 2 plus 5 is 7. 5 plus 7 plus 1 is 13. 7/13. Trump's ear clip date. Shannon Doherty's death date. Remember, Trump was supposedly clipped in the ear in Not Another Teen Movie. Reggie Ray is bleeding from his ear. Also 70 years, 3 days. Your 7-3 EL number. 840 months, 3 days. Now 3 days after 8-4 would be 8-7. Charlize Theron was born on 8-7. You know how she connects to Charlie Kirk through my past decodes. But if you were to include the end date, it would be 84 plus 4, and you would land on 8-8, the Lionsgate portal date. Heavily connected to Trump through Gladys Lilly of the movie Weapons. And getting back to Varsity Blues, check out the names of Paul Walker and Amy Smart's characters. Their last names, Harbor, like Pearl Harbor. And before getting into the Pearl Harbor stuff, I want to go from Ron Lester's birth date to Paul Walker's death date. 15,824 days. 5 plus 1 is 6. 8 plus 2 plus 4 is 14. 6/14, Trump birth date. Ron Lester, all about the head wounds, died in Dallas, born on 8/4, going to Paul Walker's death date. And check this out. It was also a span of 519 months and 26 days. May 19th plus 26 days. Guess what it lands on? Yep, Trump's birthday. So Ron Lester still giving us all those Trump codes. And here's a Michelle Trachtenberg one, as it's also 2,260 weeks and 4 days. Again, Michelle died on 226. Add the 4, and you also have your 6-4, which the Space Needle will turn this year. Michelle, all about the tower sacrifice, and of course the Space Needle is a tower. And now, since Walker's last name was Harbor, going from his death date to the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor, exactly 12 years and 7 days, your Pearl Harbor date. And going from Walker's birth date to the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor, 19,079 days. 1 plus 9 is 10, 7 plus 9 is 16, 10, 16. You're backwards 611, or upside down 911. Also 52 years, 2 months, 25 days. This is your 522, both forwards and backwards. Remember, Memphis founded on 522, and that is the date of the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode. And if you add the big 522 date, both forwards and backwards, you get 79, Trump's current age, and the age he will be up to 611. And I, of course, had to edit this in real quick. The 522, both forwards and backwards. Don't forget that the Tower Sacrifice episode of Buffy the Gift aired on 522 and was season 5, episode 22, and that 5 times 22 is 110. It was 2 110s because it was the Tower Sacrifice episode, and each of the World Trade Center towers had 110 floors each. So the two 522s or 2 110s, one for each of the Twin Towers. And here you have 5 times 22 forwards, 5 times 22 backwards, your 2 110s. See what I'm saying? But yeah, I just had to patch that in here. In fact, in the percentage of a common year, you have your 522 Memphis founding date, Tower Sacrifice air date, with your 7/12, 12/7 Pearl Harbor date. And that, of course, leads me to the Pearl Harbor 84-year anniversary, 2/2/11/2026, exactly 66 days, your twin number. Also 9 weeks and 3 days. Claire Kramer was born on 9/3, and she played the Hell Goddess Glory in the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode on 5/22. And of course, all the 12/7 stuff makes me think, let's go from James's death to the death of Seattle Slew in the same year. He died exactly 2 months, 26 days before Seattle Slew's death anniversary on 5/7, the 127th day of the year. And again, Michelle died on 2/26, the 57th day of the year. Also 12 weeks and 1 day. And again, 1/21, 121st day of the year is May Day, the day of sacrifice. Now, if you go from his death to 8/4 later this year, it's 174 days, which is important because the 174th composite is your 222 order out of chaos as above so below number. And remember how that number connects to Michelle, as the 222nd composite is 284. She was born on the 284th day of the year, 9 months and 11 days into the year, and she died 9 months, 11 days before the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor, 284 days before it. And speaking of Michelle, it's also 24 weeks, 6 days, who was born on the 246th day of the year, Claire Kramer, Michelle's nemesis in the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode. You even get your 47.67% of 2026. And he died 191 days after last 8/4. That's basically your 9/11 numbers. But more importantly, 6 months, 7 days. And of course, he was born on the 67th day of the year. 6 times 7 equals 42. And remember that also connects because 8/4 is Ron Lester's birth date. Going from his death date to Lester's death date, 126 days. Remember, the 126 composite is 165, Trump born on the 165th day of the year. So once again, Lester connects to Trump. And it's also exactly 18 weeks. And remember the other Harbor in the movie, Jules Harbor, played by Amy Smart. And go figure, if you go from Smart's birthday last year to his death date this year, 322 days exactly, your skull and bones number. Also 10 months, 16 days, you're backwards 611, upside down 911. 88.22% of a common year, you're 228 with your 88. And there's more to come on this. I just wanted to do a short form video today since I did such a long video yesterday. Worth noting that Jon Voight played Coach Bud Kilmer, who died on 4/1 last year, Val Kilmer. And by the way, actor Bud Cort died the same day that James did. So, very interesting there that he would play Coach Bud Kilmer. But again, that's for a later video. All glory to God, and thank you for watching. And one more thing I wanted to throw in here at the end of the video, Not Another Teen Movie, released on December 14th, 2001. And that is a total of 5,299 days before Ron Lester died. What is 529? JFK's birthday, who got the head wound in Dallas, where Ron Lester died. And this is going from the release of Not Another Teen Movie to his death in Dallas. And then 529 plus 9, what date do we land on? We land on June 7th, our 6-7 Elvis number. So, our JFK birth date, and then 9 more days to our 6-7. What are the odds, right? And right here we have a 146 plus 3. That equals 149. What is the 149th day of the year? 529, JFK's birth date. And it's also your 6/14 Trump birthday. Which means if you include the end date, it's your 6/14 Trump birthday with your 46 Trump birth year. So it's your full Trump birth date. Again, Ron Lester, all about Trump and the head wound. And getting back to my Jonathan Moxley, the wrestler connection to Vanderbeek from earlier, you know what makes it even better? I saw this movie way back, but I don't remember a lot of it. So reading the plot here on Wiki, it says that Vanderbeek's character is named Jonathan Moxon. And what is John Moxley's name? Jonathan Good. That's his real name, but he goes by John Moxley, or Mox for short, just like Vanderbeek does in Varsity Blues. Moxley, by the way, is from Ohio, Cincinnati. And another connection to current events, as Mox wants to leave Texas and attend Brown University. We, of course, had the whole Brown University incident not long ago. And at the end of the film, Mox winds up going to Brown University. And here you have legendary coach Bud Kilmer. Like I said, Bud Cort died on 2/11, the same date that Vanderbeek died on. And Val Kilmer died on 4/1 last year, the same date as the Seattle Space Needle prank back in 1989. I mean, what are the odds of all of this going together like this? You know what I'm saying? This all fits together perfectly. And just to take a look at the Kilmer connection real quick, going from Kilmer's death on April 1st last year to Vanderbeek's death and Bud Cort's death, exactly 317 days. Go figure. That's your backwards 7/13 Trump ear clip date, Shannon Doherty death date, your big 137 number. And remember that the first Final Destination film with Ali Larter, James Vanderbeek's co-star in Varsity Blues, She was in the first Final Destination. She's the one who said when she was 6 or 7, to get that 67 in there, she used to lay in bed thinking about her parents dying. And Larder is born on 2/28. And this year, her birth date falls on the 91,184th day of this country's existence, your 9/11/84, as I showed in my last video. Of course, Elvis dying on the 228th day of the year, and Allie Larder being born on 2/28. And it just gets better because it's also 10 months, 11 days. Michelle Trachtenberg, born on 10/11. So I rest my case. Like I told you, a lot of these people were on the WB network, and they are all interwoven in their fates. Shannon Doherty, she came to fame on Beverly Hills 90210. That was not a WB show, but she did eventually wind up on the WB on Charmed. Sarah Michelle Gellar got her start on Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the WB. Jessica Biel got her start on the WB on that show Seventh Heaven. Vanderbeek got his start there, Joshua Jackson, etc. And as I've said in a past video, WB is 23-2, which can basically be your 322 Skull and Bones numbers. And I also made a mistake way earlier in the video and accidentally said Amy Smart when I meant Allie Larder. I don't remember which exact point it was at this point, but I'll post it in the comments after I rewatch the video. Larder is the one from the Final Destination films, the one born on 2/28. Amy Smart, born on 3/26/76. And the one whose last birthday was 322 days before Vanderbeek died. And by the way, Vanderbeek means from the creek, of the stream, or by the brook. And guess what Allie Larder's character name is in the Final Destination movies? It's Clear Rivers. So her name in that film connects to rivers just like Vanderbeek's actual name does. And of course, you know Tony Todd in that film, all the connections with him. He died on 11/06. He was in The Rock, which came out on 6/7, Alcatraz film. There's Sean William Scott. He plays Roland and Ronald Tavner, the twins, or the past self and future self from Southland Tales, who, if they meet, the world will end. Of course, that's the result of him going through a time rift. Kristen Cloak plays Valerie Luton. I've talked about her before in her 9/11 connections. And again, Final Destination came out on 3/17 in the year 2000. And why not end this video the same way I ended yesterday's? Allie Larder, as I said, born 2/28. Her 50th birthday is coming up, which means her 50th birthday is the 91,184th day of the U.S.'s existence. From 7/4/1776 to her 50th birthday on 2/28, which connects to Elvis, of course, 9/11/84 days. How about that? And remember that the day before that, on 2/27, Kevin Williamson, the creator of Dawson's Creek, has Scream 7 coming out with its character named Prescott, like Presley. Kevin Williamson, born on Pi Day. His full name equals 216. But anyway, again, I wanted this to be a shorter video, so that's all for now. I have a Friday the 13th themed video coming up, as it definitely connects to Trump, but it probably won't be posted until after midnight. So A little late, but all glory to God, and thank you for watching.